Hey there, this is Mark Joyner, and I'm about to hand you an invisible, Swiss Army knife. An invisible one, though. Not like this one. It's invisible. Okay, this little Swiss Army knife that I'm about to give you, this invisible Swiss Army knife, can be used for all sorts of things. It can be used to improve your sleep, can be used to improve your social confidence, can give you more energy, it can improve your digestion, and a whole lot more. Now, before I explain this little trick to you, I need to give you a very brief background on a couple of scientific concepts that are relatively easy to understand, but are also extremely important for us to understand. Now, our understanding of these things is changing so rapidly these days that the terminology that I'm using right now could be considered passé in 10 years or so, but it probably won't matter because the tool that I'm about to share with you totally works. And what I'm giving you is the current scientific understanding of how this tool actually works. All right, so the first thing that we need to know is that traditionally, we break up the nervous system into two different areas. We have the somatic nervous system, which is the one I'm using right now to talk to you and to move my hands, do everything that is voluntary. And then we have the autonomic nervous system, which is everything involuntary. For example, you don't have to think about your heart beating, but it beats on its own. That's the autonomic nervous system at work, and it governs thousands upon thousands of little processes that we thankfully don't have to think about. Now, the autonomic nervous system can be divided into two other areas. We have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. Now, to put it simply, the parasympathetic nervous system is about rest and reset, and the sympathetic nervous system is about fight or flight. Now, most of us are spending way too much time in that sympathetic fight or flight mode, and this has an enormous effect on our body on a number of processes. It prevents us from being able to sleep well. It prevents us from being able to be socially calibrated because we're so nervous in our social interactions. It totally destroys our digestion because the body is sent this signal, hey, if you're in fight or flight, of course we have to take attention away from digestion. So if you're wondering why you're not digesting your food properly, this could be one of the reasons. And then paradoxically, it burns up too much energy when we spend way too much time in the sympathetic mode. So if we learn how to get into the parasympathetic mode more often, paradoxically, we get more energy. It's absolutely amazing. So how do we do this? Well, there is a little known hack into the autonomic nervous system that most people don't know about it. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to ask you to pause the video for just a moment to think about it. Really think about it. Really try to answer this question. And if you can come up with the answer on your own, it will accentuate the learning experience here. And even if you don't get it, it's okay because we have primed your mind to be leaning forward in the foxhole, as we used to say in the Army. So I'm going to ask you this question. Is there a function in your body that is both controlled by the autonomic and the somatic nervous system? That is there a function in your body that can be controlled automatically and also voluntarily? Go ahead and pause the video. It's worth it. Okay, I'm assuming you tried. If not, it's okay. Let's charge on. All right. So the one thing that you can control both automatically and passively is breath. Think about it, right? As you watched this video, you probably were not thinking too deeply about what was going on in your breath. You were just breathing. But if I tell you right now, control your breathing, you can totally do it. Everybody has this function. Now, what's beautiful about this is through the voluntary control of breath, we can stimulate the autonomic nervous system to behave in ways that we desire. So what we thought was uncontrollable by the human mind is actually controllable through breath. And I'm going to show you one specific technique. There are many different techniques for breathing, and it's a worthwhile venture to get in there and study the science of breath so that you understand a lot of the nuance. But I am going to give you what is probably the most powerful breathing technique I know. It's one I use all day long. This is why I call it the Swiss Army knife, or the invisible Swiss Army knife. This breathing technique is very, very simple. It's just simply an in-breath for 4 and an out-breath for 8. Now, when you're breathing in and you're breathing out, do it all through your nose and do it all into your belly. Now, here's what we know about this. When you are doing deep breathing into your belly, it helps stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. When our out-breath is longer than our in-breath, it also helps to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. And when we are breathing in and out of our nose, it also helps to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, what are we doing? We're mimicking what the body does when it feels this parasympathetic activation on our own, and we are tricking our bodies into feeling it. Now, you can experience the counter of this by doing, very short and shallow chest breathing through your mouth. How do you think you're going to feel if you do that for very long? You're probably going to feel kind of stressed out and panicky, because this is the kind of breathing that happens automatically when people get stressed out and panicky. So this is a really, really cool trick to change something in yourself that you didn't think was possible. Now, I'm going to demonstrate this one time. It's so simple. You already know how to do it, but I will demonstrate it just to be very, very clear. So when I do it, I like to close my eyes. So it's in for 4, out for 8. That's it, and you repeat it. Okay, now you'll notice I was breathing in and out of my nose. I was breathing into my belly. My out-breath was twice as long as my in-breath. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to boost your immune system. It's going to boost your digestion. You can use it when you want to sleep. If I'm having trouble sleeping, I do this 4-8 breathing a lot. Some people have said use 4-7-8 breathing for sleep. I've never been able to get that to work. The 4-8 is much easier to do, I think. It is much more relaxing and restful. I'll do that at sleep time. I'll keep my mind 100% focused on the breathing and actually get into the emotion of it. As I'm breathing in and breathing out, I'm imagining myself getting calmer. I'm imagining stress melting away. I really, really get into it. And that, by the way, is a great way to accentuate the effect of this. Now, if I feel like I have brain fog, sometimes paradoxically, it's not a matter of making myself feel more stimulated to feel more alert, but making myself more relaxed. So I will do this 4-8 breathing. Now, here's another thing. Imagine you're out in a social situation and you're starting to feel a little bit of social anxiety, as we all do from time to time. A lot of people don't like to admit it, but everybody experiences it. 4-8 breathing. You're out there in a club, you see somebody that you're attracted to, you want to talk to. Instead of having this nervous, oh my God, what's going to happen if I go over there? I'm going to get rejected, blah, 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 all that. Shut all that down. Do your 4-8 breathing. Get calm, get in control, go over there and get it done, because nothing bad's going to happen, right? Well, maybe something bad's going to happen, but you can handle it because you are in this nice, relaxed, calm, and in control state. Now, I want you to take this to the next level. You can start practicing this as often as you like, and I totally and strongly recommend that you do that. But when you get to the next level, once your energy starts picking up and you have more drive and you're feeling a little bit more in control of your life, you might want to get to a point where you start picking up the habit that all billionaires have in common. Okay, now I'm not going to tell you what that habit is right now. I want you to go read this blog post and learn it, and I'm going to give you some tools very similar to the ones that I just gave you to show you how to instill that habit. Okay, you will look at this and you will initially think that you cannot do it, but as I just demonstrated to you, sometimes the things that we think we cannot do, we actually can if we have the right tools. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to www.simpleology.com/morning30. www.simpleology.com/morning30, and you can learn all about that little habit that all billionaires have in common. And I'm going to also teach you for free how to instill that habit. And I'm going to introduce you to a community of people around the world who are working hard to instill that habit for themselves.